What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. So hopefully you guys are having a great morning. We do have the markets much higher. Just to get started, I was able to kind of work through some of the issues when it comes to the connection. So hopefully, my fingers are crossed, we don't have any issues today. So we've got about 18-20 minutes left for the markets to open. I'm going to quickly go over the presentation, kind of go over some upgrades and downgrades. The markets are very much in the green right now. So once again, thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. I really appreciate it. We've got the QQQ up over 2.68%. We've got the SPY up over 2.2%, and the Dow Jones also pushing up over 2% on the day right now. So all three indices really pushing higher. And we've got the Bitcoin, so cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin up almost 9%. Ethereum also pushing up over 6.4%, back over 2,700 for Bitcoin. We're back over $42,000. Volatility is definitely down right now. So Berg says you're confident about your internet. I am as confident as I can be right now. So hopefully this thing doesn't die on me, but we'll work with what we have, and hopefully it continues to be well. So again, keep me updated in the live chat if it's lagging or if there's any issues. I just want to make sure that things are smooth and things are working well. So okay, that's all I care about, is giving you guys the best experience possible. So hopefully, I really am praying that everything works smoothly now that I've fixed some of the issues. So volatility here down a little bit over 7% as we discussed, so just under 33 right now. And oil prices are obviously coming down a little bit, close to 6%. So Martin and I were definitely talking about how we can take advantage of oil prices coming down as they have gone up very significantly. So parabolic move to the upside, and now we're starting to see the RSI coming back down from those overbought levels. Now it's down a little bit over 6%. So let's just quickly go over some of the actual stuff. So earnings, we'll talk about the upgrades, downgrades, what's actually moving the markets. But CrowdStrike reports later today after the bell. So that is probably the only stock that I'm most interested in today, to really understand how they report earnings, and of course whether it's a buying opportunity after the earnings or not. Not doing anything pre-earnings. It's pretty much a bet pre-earnings whether it's going to go higher or lower. But once they report those numbers, I'll be a lot more confident. We'll do some valuation analysis. It is still trading at a high multiple, so definitely very rich multiple stock. But cybersecurity, there's a big demand for that now moving forward. So Bitcoin up over 8% as Biden announced his executive order on cryptocurrencies. So you'll notice that Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies were higher on Wednesday after President Biden announced his highly anticipated executive order on digital assets that appeared to take a supportive stance towards the industry. And the initial spike in prices came ahead of the executive order announcement, and the rally began just after 6 p.m. Eastern Tuesday after the Treasury published details and a statement online in response to the upcoming executive order from the U.S. president on cryptocurrency. So this was actually published ahead of schedule, and the statement from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen was unpublished shortly after, and then Yellen's statement was then published again on Wednesday. And Biden's executive order attempts to address lack of the framework for development of cryptocurrencies in the U.S., which critics say could leave the country's industry behind from the rest of the world. So big catalyst here coming in for cryptocurrencies in general. So we'll take a look at some individual companies here shortly, but we have evacuations continue in Ukraine as Russia's march on Kyiv slows. So massive evacuations from war-torn Ukrainian cities continued Wednesday. Days of Russian shelling have largely cut residents of the southern city of Mariupol off from the outside world and forced them to scavenge for food and water. And U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will visit Poland on Wednesday to thank Warsaw for taking up hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees. And the UK intelligence update says the British officials said fighting was ongoing northwest of the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, but Russian troops were not making any major progress in reaching the city right now. So that's a little bit of a geopolitical update there. 4 big U.S. brands, including McDonald's, halt operations in Russia. So kind of like this exodus continues in Russia, the sanctions, and a lot of companies kind of withdrawing from their products and services, and they're selling over in Russia. So PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Starbucks each said Tuesday they are suspending business in Russia after the country's invasion of Ukraine, a symbolic move by 4 iconic U.S. brands. Pepsi has sold products in Russia for more than 6 decades. Can you imagine Pepsi, 6 decades, that's 60 years they've been in the country, and now no longer anymore. Coca-Cola came to Russia in 1992. So, that's also been close to 30 years. That's almost 3 decades. And McDonald's opened its first location in Moscow in 1990, well over 3 decades, just months before the fall of the Soviet Union. And Starbucks entered the Russian market in 2007. So big blow for 4 major U.S. brands, kind of retreating from Russia moving forward. By the way, keep talking in the live chat, you guys. I just want to make sure that I'm still, you guys can still hear me and see me, because I just don't want anybody to go through any type of lagging experience. So I just want to make sure that everything is still working well. Congress reaches a deal on 13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine in Europe, and analysts warn of a recession if oil prices continue to surge further into uncharted territory. So after President Joe Biden announced a ban on Russian fossil imports Tuesday, U.S. crude traded above $120 per barrel, while Brent jumped over 130. And this right here is from, let's see, so the UK and European Union also said they would phase out Russian fossil fuels. So the US already put a ban on Russian oil, and the UK and European Union are also trying to phase out Russian fossil fuels. And my greatest fear is that these prices have risen so fast that you can cause a recession in Europe and Latin America that rolls on into the United States, that ultimately affects China's ability to sell consumer goods to the rest of the world. So Russia right now supplies 11% of global oil consumption, and we've got 17% of global gas consumption, as much as 40% of Western European gas consumption as of 2021. So these are some big numbers, right? In order to replace that, you need another country to basically produce as much oil as Russia was before, if you really want to completely ditch Russian fossil fuels, right? So for Europe, it's the biggest problem, because 40% of oil and gas comes from Russia for Western Europe. And of course, Russia supplies 11% of global oil consumption to the entire world, and I think 2%, roughly 3%, goes to the US as well. So US doesn't have as much of a bigger problem as Europe, but they're also going after Venezuela and Iran to kind of see if they can kind of make up for that lost oil from those two countries. But then they've got their own issues in Venezuela and Iran. They may have to lift up the sanctions, and Venezuela may have to go off of the oil embargo once again. So those are some very diplomatic foreign policy measures that need to happen. But a bigger problem is going to be for Europe, which primarily is dependent on Russia for 40% of its oil and gas imports. But moving forward, let's just go over, in the worst case scenario, a complete ban on Russian energy imports in all major consuming countries would severely reduce and disrupt energy supply, and sending prices into further uncharted territory, and inflation advanced economies would end the year at around 5% as opposed to 2.5%, so pretty much doubling in the inflation expectations, and the efforts of a drop in household spending power and power rationing in Europe would push the Eurozone into a recession also, possibly. So this is an ongoing thing and ongoing developments, and we'll see what comes out on the other side when all of this kind of settles down, all the dust settles, what kind of world we're living in, where oil prices are, what type of relationships we have between countries. So going over some upgrades and downgrades. So let's just take a look. So Morgan Stanley reiterates Apple as overweight. We got Barclays reiterating Amazon as overweight as well. Loop upgrades Dollar Tree to buy from hold. Bank of America downgrades PayPal to neutral from buy. So that's a bit unfortunate. But Bank of America said it's in its downgrade of the payment stock that it's too difficult to recommend right now, and 2022 is a transition year as PayPal pursues a strategic pivot emphasizing on average revenue per user. So they're going more after engagement and ARPUs over net new customer adds while coping with the ongoing pressures from inflation and supply chain dynamics. So unfortunate downgrade. I don't know what the stock is doing right now, so let's just take a quick look. So PayPal right now, it is slightly up over 3%. So kind of disregarding the downgrade here. Well, the entire market is, right? So the overall market just really starting to push higher here. And the big question really is going to be whether we see kind of like that sustainability throughout the day, or if it's going to be one of those days where we gap up and then sell off intraday to close very, very poorly. But Piper Sandler initiates coverage on Palantir and says it's overweight. So Palantir is improving its customers' operational effectiveness by combining software, AI, and data into powerful central IT solutions. So that's a big upgrade for the company. They also say it's a high growth is likely to continue moving forward, especially in the commercial side, is where I personally think that's where the growth is going to be. But Bank of America reiterates CrowdStrike as a buy as well, and Loop downgrades Domino's to hold from buy, and Wedbush upgrades Netflix to neutral from underperform. This, by the way, is a video that I posted kind of going over my entire options portfolio. And we started options trading in the beginning of 2022. We've been selling covered calls and cash secured puts. In this video, I basically go over all the options we have sold so far, what the status is, whether they're open, whether they're closed, what's the P&L. So if you guys want to kind of learn more about that and what I'm doing next in terms of which options I'm selling next on which stocks, everything is going to be covered in that video. If you guys want to get access, the link's going to be down in the description below. You're more than welcome to watch that as well. It's a private member video that everyone has access to if you're part of our Discord. So CP says PayPal is cheap, Venmo is undervalued. I do agree. I think there's a little bit of a mispricing there on PayPal, considering that it's trading at now almost at 20 to 22 times earnings on a forward basis. And of course, don't even get me started on Facebook and Meta platforms, right? It's just incredibly cheap for what it brings to the table. But anyway, so markets here, very green, super green. Let's just do our poll here very quickly and see where the sentiment is today. So markets today. What are you guys thinking? So what is it going to be? So all right, the poll is out, and we'll know about where the sentiment is. We already know that the sentiment overall, generally in the markets, it's towards peak fear, right? So right now we're trading at roughly 13, 14 times towards fear, and it's extremely bearish right now in the markets, right? So very much fearful, and this right here is the overall chart for the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ ETF, consistent lower highs and lower lows. Any type of rally that we see, and again, this could very well be one of those days where we see a green candle like we have seen over here. So this right here, this entire time, we pushed up very nicely. This right here was another time where we pushed up very, very nicely. So these are just small rallies in an overall downtrending market, right? So overall pattern, you can probably see that it is still lower highs and lower lows. It is a downtrending channel, but you can still see those small rallies and those green days, which equate to about 8, maybe 10% gains. So over here was back in the last week of January, QQQ rallied over 9.5%. This right here, last week of February, the QQQ rallied over 10%, and right now, once again, we could be seeing another rally of close to 5, maybe 7% on the NASDAQ. Unless, of course, we see breakouts past $350, $370, that's going to be that's going to be a big improvement for the NASDAQ in terms of a trend reversal and some type of a change in direction, and then we can sort of like pivot more towards being bullish. But right now, just want to be clear that we're still in a downtrending channel, still making lower highs and lower lows, and this is again a very, very strong gap up day, which could result in maybe some more green or could also result in some more selling pressure, considering that we still have some resistance at 333 for the markets. All right, so let's see. We are 61% green right now. So about 2/3 of the people expect the markets to be green today. And of course, 26%, that's about 1/4 of the people expect the markets to be red, and about 14% expecting the markets to be flat. So 60 to 14% expecting the markets to either go higher or being flat. So the sentiment overall is rather bullish than bearish here on the day. And we'll just end that poll, and then we'll also take a look at some of the individual companies. But before I do that, I want to quickly go over the year-to-date chart on our select sector indices, right? So energy up 35%. We have XME, that's your commodities ETF, up over 25%. So that's your 25% gain. And look at oil. This is the sort of like a purple line. This is like a pink line, pink/purple, that says US oil, 64% in 2022, right? Absolutely astronomical moves after coming from February 25th. So that was the pivot when we really started to see oil prices move up quite significantly. That pivot was right there, and after that, just a big move to the upside for oil, and that was also the week when Russia invaded Ukraine. So that was part of the big move here in oil prices, and as a result, energy also pushing up, commodities. Then we had silver, gold, the 10-year yields all pushing up, and then all these sectors are still out of favor. These are all sectors like technology, like healthcare. We got consumer staples, communication services, materials, utilities, industrials. All those sectors still fallen out of favor, and they are still selling off, still down on a year-to-date basis, right? So that's something to think about. So Kevin, thank you so much. Yes, hit the like button, and yeah. So I think it was the bit rate, you guys. It was all about the streaming wise. It was the bit rate. I looked at my OBS studio, and when I checked the bit rate that it was sending to YouTube, it was really, really low. And then I looked at the recommended settings. It was roughly 9,000 to 10,000 kbps, and then I had to up that. So I think now, hopefully, no guarantees or no promises, but I really hope that that the stream is going to be seamless now moving forward. So I'm super excited about that. So let's just start with the NASDAQ here, the Dow, and the S&P. We'll take a look at the 5-minute charts, and we'll see where the individual indices end up today. Again, it's important. It's not about where we gap up or where we gap down. It's always about where we close, right? Where do the markets close? Because the last half hour really, I mean, if you take a look at yesterday's volatility, if you come over to the 5-minute chart, yesterday was absolutely just back and forth between the bulls and the bears. Talk about having a battle right here, right? This is what battle looks like between the bulls and the bears, right? It's literally 11:35 till 1 p.m. So that 1.5 hour period, 4% move. 4% move for the NASDAQ is not a small move. This right here, then sellers stepping in at 333. So that's the first resistance that I've talked about. That's the first resistance that the NASDAQ needs to break out of. But that was a drop of 2.5%. Then the buyers step in again, jump over 1.5%. At that point, we start making some lower highs, and then we sell off to close, down 2.35%. Pretty much closing flat on the day, down about 0.5%. So right now, pre-market looks like we're getting up there for a second retest. So that's the level that I'm really watching here intraday at 333. That's going to be that first level of resistance. We're going to put in a higher high if you actually close above 333. So that's going to be that resistance level to very closely watch right now. So let's just open up our 4 split screens. We got about less than a minute left for the markets to open. And all right, let's see. Argel says if Caddy starts to lag, I'm going red on the markets. Interesting. So hopefully we don't go. Hopefully we don't lag. So PayPal here up 3%. Over here, I'm going to keep a close eye on Amazon up over 2.6%. We've got AMD. We've got Nvidia over here. By the way, I split it to 6 screens. Hopefully it's not too crowded for us. We can monitor more stocks this way, and then we'll put Facebook over here. And I do have to close some options at the open, so we'll keep a close eye on those too, because I do have some Mara covered calls. Come on, you guys. Somebody says I'm lagging. Come on. Am I really? I should not be lagging right now. All right, off we go. We've got PayPal at the top right, Amazon at the top bottom right, and then we've got Advanced Micro Devices in the middle, Meta Platforms over here, Nvidia, and then Tesla at the bottom left. And yes, so AMD, I'm actually thinking about selling a cash secured put today. Should have sold it yesterday, but it's up over 3.4% right now. But yeah, the market's really starting to push up here very nicely. And again, it all depends where we close. Doesn't matter. Don't even look at where we opened up. All that matters is where we close, right? Are we able to sustain these levels, or if the bears kind of step in again, and if we see another one of those times where the market just kind of rolls over, the volume dies, and then we just like sell off all the way back down. All right, so okay, I'm getting a little bit of a error message on stream health. It really should not be happening because I'm still sending over 9,000. Okay, so all right, I'll keep a close eye on that because YouTube's giving me that message again where it says stream status is poor. Hopefully it doesn't screw up on me, but all right, perfect, still good. All right, so we do have the Dow up over 577 points, and we're up a little bit over 1.7% for the Dow. S&P is up over 1.9%. NASDAQ up over 2.3%, but which is a pretty solid gain on the day already so far. And a lot of stocks already very much in the green. We'll see where we end up on the day later today. So Ranjit says, hate gap ups. Yes, I myself hate them too very much because of the potential downside it can create intraday, right? So when we gap up, we start to kind of sell off immediately because there's profit taking and there's also potential for downside to fill that gap and come right back down. So Mara's up over 8%, not bad. I can still close my covered calls on those. I just got to see where or how much. All right, so YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such. I'm just gonna take a look at this error very quickly. So I think it's just buffering right now, just a little bit of buffering That's what it is, because right now I'm still sending, my OBS studio is still sending a lot of a lot of data over to YouTube. It's just, I think, a slight bit of laggy right now. All right, so here, let's take a look at the volatility. So we are slightly down over 7.8%. Volatility has definitely been very, very high. Since the beginning of 2022, VIX has really not gotten down below 16. Really, I mean, since the beginning of February, we have really barely seen under 20 levels for the volatility, right, for the VIX. So, God damn it, I don't know why this happens. Like, this is such weird stuff. It keeps on happening. All right, let me try and fix this very quickly. Yeah, it almost always happens when the market opens, right? It just feels like there's just so much, I don't know what happens, but like, I don't know, you guys might be able to help me out with that. Like, I don't know if you guys use OBS Studio at all, but yeah, this is the message that I usually see. Like, I'm sending over 9,000 kbps over here, and of course it says on coding overload. I don't know for what reason, but I guess I'll have to fix that later. So, all right, I'm just gonna keep going. If it lags, it lags. If it doesn't, hopefully it'll get better in a little bit. All right, we'll keep a close eye on what happens. But AMD here dropping down just over 1.6% in the green right now. Amazon's still up over 1.8. Facebook's up over 2.5. PayPal's up over 3.7. We got Tesla up over 1.8, and Nvidia also up over 4%. So Nvidia is definitely pushing higher quite a bit right now. So let me just take a look at this here very quickly, because I do need to close something. So okay, yeah, God, some of the profits really gone, but it doesn't really matter. I have to I'll just sell another one. So what I'm really doing right now is God, this is frustrating. I don't know why. Yeah, there's a lag. I might have to watch some videos to see why this is happening, and why I keep getting this lag, because I can show you that the internet speed is pretty good. Like, what do you guys think is the internet speed right now, the Wi-Fi speed, and what is a good one? Audio is fine, but audio doesn't help you guys. I mean, audio is not worth keeping on with, right? So video is what's really important. You guys should be able to see it and hear me. All right, guys, so I might have to fix this again. To apologize. I have God, God, this is so frustrating. I really thought that I had it fixed when I upped the bitrate, so the condition was good. It was working well. I'm still sending over 10,000 kbs per second, kilobytes per second. And again, it's just giving me so much issues once again, with this stupid error that YouTube is YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As a result, your viewers will experience buffering. For a brief moment, it said your stream health was excellent, it was great, but then all of a sudden it went into an error again. So, all right, so again, I don't even have anything open. I don't have any browsers open, just the YouTube browser, and then of course the TradingView charts. But I will fix it. I will again take a break. Yesterday I didn't do a live stream because I was figuring things out. Maybe we'll just do like a private live stream and with the members and see how that goes before we actually do a public live stream again. So again, I do apologize. And I'm gonna try to fix this, see if there's any upgrades or updates to OBS Studio that I need to download as well. But I'm gonna jump over to Discord now. Again, I do apologize. Thank you so much. Obviously don't leave a like because this was not helpful, but I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Take care.